Hello, everyone. My name's Devin, and today I will be discussing my personal progress using SAFMEDS flashcards for the week 7 of course number 624. Um, Throughout this course, I've learned to figure out, what works best for me and what doesn't. I notice where my capabilities are and where my limitations are. Um, Based on, previous experience, from past courses, I noticed that I would try to run 5 trials per day. So I made some adjustments in this course to running 4 trials per day, which is helpful for me to being consistent. That is something that I've really struggled with, is just being consistent with my SAFMEDs, because I have very little time within my schedule to plan out my day with school, work, personal stuff, and it's hard to find good times in my day to work on those things. But um, let me show you my what I'm working with. So as you can see, for deck 1, I applied an intervention that consisted of reading the flashcards slowly and highlighting the key terms and phrases that might, help indicate the answer. Um, as you can see, from deck 1 to deck 2, there's an increasing trend with the correct responses of the A cell data plots. Um, there is some minimal variability in between, week 1 to week 2. I noticed that I kind of had um, a minor setback with those days, with those weeks. Again, this comes back to, time management and being consistent and all that. However, when it came to applying my second intervention, which was on week 2, I'm sorry, for deck 2, I applied, let's see, I applied same methods, highlighting and then reading it slowly. But as you can see in the middle of deck 2 and deck 3, there's a big gap, blank gap, and that's for week 5. And during this time, week 5, I was extremely busy with my personal stuff and work, and so I wasn't able to be consistent with my trials. And I think it's important to to mention, because we are human and we're capable of making mistakes every now and then, or errors, and we have to hold ourselves accountable. And that's what I'm doing here, is just to holding myself to accountable and letting you know that my progress isn't great, but it could be better, and that's where I strive for improvement. um, uh, right before week 5, you can see that there's a low levels of correct responses at the start of deck 2, which is normal. However, the deck 2 had more cards than deck 1, and then deck 3 has less cards than either of those decks, um, which I find it a lot easier to master. This time around, during week 7, I was working on the acquisition phase of deck 3, and I found myself running through them quite quickly, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna master this in no time. But I challenged myself to read the information on the cards slowly, so that I may better understand and solidify the information. Because if I didn't, then I would just be running things based off of what I'm seeing, not really grasping a lot of the information. So um, deck 3, you can see that I started off low, and there's a increasing trend of correct responses, and then a decreasing trend of incorrect responses. Or yeah, I guess you can say that, incorrect responses, because I don't know if they're incorrect or they're correct, or I'm sorry, not incorrect, or just skipped. because they haven't been reached. So they're not really technically incorrect, but anyways, I digress. I noticed that, well, I would hope for next week and future courses that this these interventions are effective for me, and I hope that that I finish off this course strong, and I hope that I can master each of them, um, each deck within a stipulated time frame. But I feel like I did really well. There's kind of a pattern that's occurring from deck 1 to deck 2. You can see like maybe it starts off low and then gets high and then low again and then high, and then it's just kind of um, plateaus at a certain point. And then once it plateaus, that's where I feel like I can start working on the next deck, based off of the criteria that we've already established for the mastery phases. Let's see, and that's pretty much all I have for today. I think my main concern for this whole experience is just being consistent. Consistent is key, because I really need to work on that in all aspects of my life. So yeah, next course around, or hopefully next week, I will try to be better and be more mindful of my time and try to manage my trials, and also inputting the data on a daily basis. That's the other thing that's kind of difficult, because again, time management, finding time to open my computer, bring up the website, input all the data, it's just, yeah, I usually save that for the weekend. But anywho, that is something that I can work on for next time around, and I would like to see that happen, because if that because that kind of threatens the validity of the entire graph, because if you're not putting them if you're not inputting the data on a regular basis, then how can we trust that this data that you're inputting is accurate? Yeah, you have it all written down, which is nice, but you could write down anything at this point. And not saying that I am, but I'm just saying it's an inferences that we're making about this graph. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. So thank you so much for your time, and hope you guys have a great day.